You are live. Alrighty. Welcome to I Need Living Conversations. I'm Julian Katari, having a conversation with Blue Heron Woman in Indianola, Oklahoma. And we get together each week and talk about the different subjects, very interesting, deep subjects about so many aspects, all regarding freedom. Information, crucial information that can help you reach your freedom, your sovereignty, your wellness, and so many other things. This time, this is the 194th conversation, and we are going to be talking about reclaiming your eyesight, about how to get rid of them glasses and recover your ability to see without them, something that not everybody thinks would be possible. I think it's a very, very specific thing that is very attractive to many people. Can be very interesting. And it's part of the sovereignty, not allowing yourself to be told by an industry what can be done and what cannot be done. So this time,
exactly,
we are here to tell you that you can get rid of them. It's not an easy process, but you can.
But
So,
it's as easy as we allow it to be.
First step is believing.
And let's reframe sovereignty as self-authority.
Okay.
I mean, right? It's because we have this thing that we have this fixation. Someone outside of us that went to school for 8 years knows more about my body than I do. Or, I mean, and in the case of politicians, they don't even fucking go to school.
Yeah.
Right? We have this thing about external authority. So inner self-authority is what sovereignty is.
Yeah. But so tell us about sovereignty from the eyes.
Well, so before we start, these are not prescription lenses. These are plus lenses.
For the blue things, right? For the
lights? No, they're just plus lenses.
Plus lenses, what's that?
They magnify.
Okay.
So we're going to get into it later, but when you go to an optometrist and you get your eyesight checked and the optician, the lab tech, puts this thing across your nose, they measure exactly where your pupils are. And that is where they put the correction. So it keeps your eyes stuck to the middle of the lenses. These plus lenses have nothing of that. They're just magnifying lenses. That's all they are.
Okay.
I gave up my prescription lenses 5 years ago. I haven't worn prescription glasses in five years.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're evidence that this is possible, and you're not the only one I know of this. My friend Gordon, for example, he is also well underway of getting rid of. He also doesn't use them anymore. And once found out about this possibility, and it's out there, and you're going to tell us about it. You're going to tell us how to.
So what is vision? And how do we see? Do our eyes really work just like a camera lens? Do we even see with our eyes? Well, Jacobo Grinberg would tell you we don't.
We don't see anything. We just interpret stuff, right?
Could wearing glasses actually contribute to the progression of poor vision? What is the relationship between our vision, our beliefs, and our emotional state? So light energy enters our being through our eyes, but our vision of reality is determined more by what we see with our mind's eye and that's not our brain's eye, that's our mind's eye, than what we see with our physical eye. So our eyesight is simply a reflection of our view of reality. So when our mind begins to see more clearly, our eyes also begin to see more clearly. And ordinary people have miraculously healed their eyesight. They all suddenly saw a new possibility. That's all it takes. Have you ever been told that you have progressive myopia, nearsightedness, astigmatism, visual asymmetry, or presbyopia, old age vision? Yes to all three of them. Have you ever been told that you will always wear glasses, at least for certain activities? Yes. Eyesight improvement is within the reach of virtually everyone. Our conventional beliefs about vision are keeping millions of us locked into limited eyesight and limited self-awareness. The art of healing is a function of experience, not credentials. And all credential signal is outer authority. One of the most potent aspects of our genetic makeup is our body's ability to continually regenerate, rebalance, and heal itself. Approximately 90% of the information we learn in a lifetime enters through our eyes. Our visual sense has three components: sensory, integrative, and motor, which is movement. Motor is always movement. The sensory aspect receives information. The integrative aspect compares that visual input with our past experience, processes it through our mind's filters. Again, mind, not brain. There's a huge difference. And the motor aspect is the final outcome, our speech, our movements, and our actions. So vision actually, or eyesight, actually involves our entire mind-body system. It directly or indirectly affects all our thoughts, feelings, and movements. The fundamental link between vision and movement seems to be posture. So our vision system affects our posture, and our posture affects our vision system. Our eyes are incredibly sophisticated and sensitive light receptors. A single eye contains about 1 billion working parts, which is far more complex than NASA's space shuttles. The most amazing facts about our eyes, however, are that they are physical extensions of the brain, the antenna of our cognitive network. So our eyes are the externalized portions of our brain's capacity to evaluate, learn, and know. Since mind and vision, again, mind is not brain, are inseparable, the most effective way to heal our vision is to start by looking into our mind. And we've talked about the subconscious mind, the conscious mind, and the superconscious mind. And there's the objective mind, which is in our neural network. There's the subjective mind, which sits in our solar plexus. There's the heart mind. There's the gut mind. I mean, there's so many aspects to mind. It's not just our brain. So the most effective way to heal our vision is to start by looking into our mind, all of our minds. Ever since childhood, we've been trained to ask, what do other people think is true? This transition from external authority to internal direction is occurring in society as a whole. So a transition from thinking, what do other people think is true, to what do I think is true? What does the church think is true, to what do I think is true? So in the 1970s, researchers discovered that our brain communicates chemically, not electrically. An electrical switch has two settings, on and off, while a chemical message can be far more complex. The newly discovered messenger chemicals called neuropeptides and are called neuropeptides, and their job is to communicate the brain's responses, feelings, beliefs, and intentions throughout the body. Neuropeptides touch the life of every cell. Wherever a thought wants to go, these chemicals must go too, and without them, no thoughts can exist. It seems obvious that these thinking molecules would be located in the brain. However, they were unexpectedly discovered in the immune system, which
Wow.
permeates every part of the body.
Mhm.
So our eyes are also made up of thinking cells. When we feel expansive, our vision can literally open up. The next discovery by science was even more startling. Every cell in our body creates its own neuropeptides. They're not created by the brain. So every one of our cells feels our emotions, thinks our thoughts, while materializing messenger chemicals out of nowhere to regulate our physiological responses. So the discovery that every cell contains the awareness of the whole has become the basis for the new holographic model of physiology. Then another chemical messenger was discovered that extended beyond the physical body. Scientists have known for a long time that plants, insects, and animals communicate with one another by means of pheromones. It turns out that humans are also constantly emitting pheromones. These chemicals are triggered by our thoughts and emotions and are transmitted into the environment where they can be sensed by others. So we are constantly releasing neuropeptides within ourselves and pheromones outside of ourselves, emanating waves of intention into the atmosphere. In our quantum body, any imbalance will simultaneously manifest physically, mentally, and emotionally, and it's not always simultaneously. It kind of comes on insidiously. So what is the real cause of vision problems? Do they originate in the eyes or in the mind and emotions? Well, the process really seems to begin when we fall out of harmonious relationship with ourselves, when we lose sight of our relationship to the whole of life, when we're not participating in the medicine circle.
Mhm.
This loss is often triggered by some kind of emotional stress. The biggest factor in turning the stress into a chronic physical symptoms is how we cope with our uncomfortable feelings. And most of us learn very early in life to suppress emotions rather than feel and share them. So if we habitually ignore our feelings, they will find a way to express. Vision care is still based on the assumption that of the medical paradigm that says once your eyes go to bad, they can never be fixed. The ability to see clearly is called visual acuity, which is measured as your ability to identify a certain size of letters at a distance of 20 feet. This distance is used because this is a distance at which the light rays that enter our eyes are roughly parallel. Right? So it was defined as optical infinity. So normal vision is then prescribed as 20/20. This simply means that when you are standing 20 feet from the eye chart, the smallest symbols that you can read are those that eye doctors have decided that a person with normal vision should be able to read at 20 feet.
Mhm.
Again, the external authority, right?
Mhm.
The first number is the testing distance, so it always stays the same, the 20, the bottom number, right? Or no, the top number. So as our visual acuity gets worse, the second number goes up. How is this the norm upon which all lens prescriptions are based? Well, the originator of the method, one Dr. Snellen, simply measured the vision of his assistant, whom he thought had good eyesight. And that set the standard against which all of us are evaluated. Let's think about that for a minute.
Mhm.
One man thought his assistant had good eyesight, and that is the basis on which all of us put glasses on our faces. Is that not stupid?
Mhm. Wow.
I mean, that absolutely floored me when I found that out. What the fuck? I'm not that stupid. Why would I put glasses on for some guy who thought his assistant had good eyesight and created this chart?
Mhm.
It's phantasmagorically stupid. Backwards, primeval. And we're worried about going to the Stone Age when there was no Snell and eye chart. Seriously. When you look at it, it's like, oh my God, and we think we're so much better than the Stone Age without their Snell and eye chart.
Mhm.
Oh, so there is no objective way. That's the bottom line. That's the cold, hard truth. There is no objective way to measure or establish what ideal eyesight should be.
Wow.
So it's possible that normal vision is well beyond our idea of 20/20.
Mhm.
So any deviation from the visual norm is called a refractive error, a condition in which the eye in a state of rest is unable to focus the image of distant objects on the retina. However, in its natural state, our eyes are never in a state of rest. Never, 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 ever are our eyes in a state of rest. And when they do stop moving, our vision begins to deteriorate. What causes our eyes to stop moving? Glasses and contacts. To prescribe corrective lenses, eye doctors generally use a combination of objective, which is retinoscopy, and subjective, the which is better tests.
Mhm.
Both of these are based on the mistaken assumption that our vision is physically determined and that we see only with our eyes. So as a rule, the eye care profession has been taught the doctrine of focusing problems, such as nearsightedness, are due to the shape of the eyeball, and the shape of the eyeball is programmed by genes, so vision improvement is impossible. If the hereditary shape of the eyeball is really the cause of weak vision, then why did our ancestors not suffer the same problems we suffer? Most of us don't realize that the epidemic of vision problems, especially nearsightedness, has recently emerged in the industrialized world. While it's still almost unheard of, while it is still almost unheard of in less developed countries.
Mhm.
The incidence of myopia or nearsightedness seems to escalate within one generation as people become more literate and spend more time indoors.
Mhm.
Can I say that again? Nearsightedness escalates as we spend more time indoors and
Yeah,
become
totally.
more better educated.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense.
Right? More better educated. I love that. So even in our modern world, the incidence of myopia or nearsightedness is markedly lower among peasants or farmers, which are the same thing, than among highly educated and professional people.
Mhm.
The Chinese have found that the escalation is reversible given a public commitment to vision improvement. So Chinese students and factory workers do eye exercise twice a day for about 10 minutes, and they get paid to do that. That's part of their normal working day. In the 1920s, a Dr. Bates, ophthalmologist, began to question the effectiveness of using corrective lenses to treat vision problems. His work is the foundation of the natural approach to vision improvement. He proposed that vision originated not in mechanical factors within the eye, but in a combination of physical, emotional, and mental responses to an environment of unhealthy stress. He said if primitive man allowed himself to get nervous, he was promptly eliminated. But civilized man survives and transmits his mental characteristics to posterity. So our eyes process visual information both centrally and peripherally. Central vision is whatever we are focusing on. It perceives the details and colors of the stationary objects within our central focus. Our central vision is primarily active during the day as it works best under high levels of illumination. Peripheral vision enables us to perceive shapes and movement. It scans the objects out to our sides around our central focus. We use peripheral vision at all times, and it's our primary form of perception in the dark, under the lower levels of nighttime. This is the aspect of our mind's eye that feels the world as a whole. This aspect is significantly reduced when we wear glasses. So if you've ever been prescribed glasses and you went to pick them out and get the lenses made, you might remember the optician putting that ruler or machine across the nose. They are measuring the distance between our pupils so that the prescription gets put directly over the center of our eye. The problem with this is that it does not take into account the fact that our eyes are in constant motion. Our prescription actually changes every time our eyes look away from the optical center. By encouraging us to look straight ahead, glasses became a highly effective feedback tool that trains our eyes to remain in one position, teaching us to view reality through a single fixed point of view. The part of our vision that looks straight ahead knows only how to analyze and discriminate. So the more we wear our glasses, the more we learn to judge our world rather than feel it. The more we lose our innate ability to sense its wholeness. This feedback created by corrective lenses not only blocks our peripheral vision, it also limits the range of our eye movements. Psychologists have noticed that in order to access specific types of data or memories in our brain, we need to move our eyes in a particular direction, and that's where new neuro-linguistic programming came in. So let's do an exercise to demonstrate this. If you wear glasses, do it with your glasses on, and we'll divide into partners. One asks the question and notes how your eyes move, and then trade. So you ask your partner, what was the color of your first bicycle or car? And watch how their eyes move. What would your mother look like with bright green hair? What does it feel like to stroke a kitten? What does your national anthem sound like? And watch the eye movements. So your partner might probably notice, and you might have also noticed, that each question elicited a specific eye movement or combination of movements. These movements open up our mind's file cabinet to locate the file for every question. All our past experiences are stored in these file cabinets, and you instinctively know how to suppress painful or uncomfortable memories by immobilizing your eyes. And again, it's the eye. The mind is not in the brain. It's in the field. It's because we all emanate this, the first principle, the Hermetic principle that of the great all. Everything is mental. Everything is mind, consciousness. That's the Akashic records.
Everything is stored
outside the brain.
Yeah, and not even like the physicality of it all. The space-time is not even the whole reality.
Yeah, no.
It's not out there.
Wearing glasses suppresses our natural eye movements. And so then that's why these are plus lenses. There's no, right? The entire lens is, everywhere I look through these lenses, it's the same. It's all just magnification. Pluses everything. So wearing glasses suppresses our natural eye movement, so these do not suppress my natural eye movement. And so then we develop a habit of substituting head movements for eye movements. This keeps the difficult feelings evoked by our memories locked within the cabinet. However, Excess head movement also creates unnecessary tension in our neck and shoulders and may encourage the development of astigmatism. And that's one of the things I've been diagnosed heavily with in my eyes my entire life, is astigmatism. So all corrective lenses discourage and eventually cripple visual flexibility. Corrective lenses, especially contacts, freeze our eyes into a fixed focus that is applied to every visual task, a focus that is determined by worst case visual need. So we get used to worst case scenario. When we wear contacts all day, our eyes spend every waking hour in the focus that our eye doctor determined by asking you the questions that your body did not understand. Usually vision is like a searchlight. Most of us focus on one thing and don't realize when we do that we're missing everything else. So maybe if we look at nothing, we can see everything. So try this. Remove glasses or contacts. Now look straight out and find a point of focus. For a moment, focus really hard. Now relax your gaze and look at that point very softly. And notice that the more intently you focus, the less you can see. You may have noticed that when you focus really hard, your peripheral vision dims and shrinks. And now look at that same point without focusing or staring. Become aware of your breath and body and notice how your eyes feel. Breathe softly and release any tension in your body. Allow your visual focus to soften and expand until you can see everything around the point or object you chose to focus on. Then notice how you can expand this to see everything in your visual field without focusing on one thing and allowing your eyes to move freely. This practice is called open focus. It is the effortless way that our eyes were meant to see. And as we practice, we notice that our eyes are constantly moving and never still. These eye movements are the instinctive dance of vision, searching out anything that needs our attention in the dynamic flow of life. Open focus will always lead us to the next aspect of life. What should I do next? The effect of open focus is the opposite of the contraction that occurs when we put glasses on our faces or contacts in our eyes. Open focus can also be called non-judgmental seeing because it is a way of seeing that gives equal importance to everything that we can perceive. And that concept of equal importance or equal non-importance is going to come up over and over and over and over and over and over again as we work through freedom warrior basic training. Because what we give importance to or what we don't give importance to depends what our lifeline brings us and makes us stupid. Really. So this concept of importance, self-importance, self-pity, importance, meaning, giving meaning to things, it's probably the single most liberating thing I've done in the last six weeks is to learn to not give importance to anything, not give meaning to anything. Well, to give meaning to the beauty, the things of beauty, and not anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So,
okay.
So our attention is constantly moving. So open focus or non-judgmental seeing is whatever our eyes are being gently drawn to is most important at that moment. And our attention is constantly moving. Unfortunately, we tend to spend our time mostly looking forward to the past. That's why we suffer so much, because we're hooked on the past. Another really important line that came into my field of view in the last 6 weeks was, if it ain't happening in front of my eyes, it ain't happening inside myself, so let it go. I repeat that to myself 100 times a day, probably. because we have such a programming that gets so focused on the past, the past, the past, the past. No, let's come into the eternal now. Is it happening right now? No, then it's not important. Let it go. And that is directly tied to our eyesight. And we don't know that. So where do we see from and who does the seeing? Is there really a single part of ourselves from which any vision originates? The truth is that you don't see with your eyes, and vision doesn't actually occur in any single location. Imagine that. Doesn't occur right here in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
A scientist named Jules Romains has demonstrated the existence of visual perception outside the retina, situated in certain nervous centers of our skin, particularly in our hands, our forehead, the nape of our neck, and our chest. And Jacobo Grinberg demonstrated the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
He had kids that were blindfolded and had put their hands behind their back, facing a television with their back, and they could see the program clearly, what was playing on TV through their hands.
Mm-hmm.
So, a physicist has said that the optically healthy organ of the eye alone is insufficient for sight.
Well,
Without an inner light, without a formative visual imagination, we are blind. The light of the mind must flow into and marry with the light of nature to bring forth a world, not Mother Earth, a world.
Mm-hmm.
And we live in a world while we're on Mother Earth, a part of Mother Earth. So this light of the mind is an ancient belief that the eyes actually emanate inner light as well as absorb outer light. Van Gogh said that the eye is formed by the light and for the light so that the inner light may emerge to meet the outer light. We can never actually break our connection with the web of life, even though we've been told we're disconnected from it. We can and do regularly reduce our access to it by numbing ourselves to its continuous flow of information. Like a radar screen, the sensitivity of our perceptual field is relative to its size. When fully expanded, it is capable of receiving a tremendous amount of information. As it contracts, it receives much less. Unlike a radar screen, however, our field is constantly fluctuating in response to our emotional space. When we're afraid, it contracts, and when we feel relaxed, it expands. Under chronic pressure, the energy of our field repeatedly contracts and eventually collapses. So our visual field, so the child's chronic fear has become a fear of life. Our visual field is the manifestation of our energy field. Our visual field is like a vision envelope that surrounds us. Our visual field is actually a perfect mirror of our energy field. Both fluctuate rhythmically and breathe in response to our feelings and experiences. In fact, due to the close connection between vision and the brain, every perception and experience is felt in our visual field and affects how we see. Didn't know our eyes could feel. Learning disabled children simply have a severely contracted field resulting in tunnel vision. And it seems that the underlying cause of most vision problems is a chronically collapsed field of awareness, which is a fear of life. So take a moment now and stretch your arms out to both sides with your thumbs up. Look straight ahead and slowly bring your thumbs together in front of you. Notice the positions at which you can first see each thumb. These are the left and right boundaries of the visual field, and do the same thing with your arms straight up and bringing them down. So these are the vertical boundaries. You'll discover the vertical boundaries of your visual field by doing this. Optometrists and ophthalmologists have seen that blind people whose physical eyes are healed through surgery invariably experience a psychological crisis as they try to learn to see, and many even fail to overcome that challenge. Emotional barriers to vision are not unique to the blind, however. Our inner world of emotions, intention, and awareness plays a profound role in our ability or inability to see clearly. Most people who need glasses can identify a specific event that triggered feelings that were profoundly difficult to deal with, and so experience vision deterioration. When people describe a painful memory by saying, I just couldn't bear to see it, to see what was going on some level, they may have literally averted their eyes from seeing. So we can't close off any part of our visual input without diminishing our vision as a whole. And once it starts, it becomes a progressive spiral of visual deterioration and emotional avoidance. So as early trauma begins a habit of blurring out, which is astigmatism, painful experiences, which then becomes our automatic response to painful feelings, we suffer. But our energy field is always capable of returning to its full expanse at any time, and will do so when the fear that is distorting the field is fully not triggered. The primary factors that encourage and intensify visual deterioration are the prescription lenses that are used to correct vision problems, the social norms that encourage us to analyze instead of feel, and the stress involved with our educational system. If you've become nearsighted, you can see more clearly close up because our field has collapsed inward. The nearsighted person seems to carry the feeling of the outer world is against me. I need to shrink inside to create a buffer, a safety between me and the world. If you've become farsighted, your self-defense has been to push your field outward away from you, so you see things in the distance clearer. The farthest-sighted person often seems to feel that if the outside world is against me, if I can see you a mile away, I'll be able to prepare my response before you get any closer. So I will project my vision out as far as I can. According to the traditional model of vision, most people will become less myopic or somewhat farsighted after the age of 40. This is called presbyopia or old age vision, and conventional theories say it's the inevitable result of the aging eye. However, our vision changes in response to many factors. Poor diet, environmental toxins, all play a large role in the development of presbyopia. The accumulation of environmental and psychological toxins gradually leads to a condition of reduced flexibility throughout the mind-body system. And so as a result, our eyes take longer to adjust their focus between near and far. Again, if you're nearsighted, take off your glasses for a moment. If you're not nearsighted, borrow a pair from a myopic friend. Hold them about a foot in front of your face, and now position the lenses so you can see part of an object of it, the lens, through the lens, and another part of the object outside the lens. This is called splitting the target. Notice the difference that between the part you see through the lens and the part you see outside the lens. Notice that though the image within the lens appears clearer if you're nearsighted, it also appears smaller and closer than the image outside the lens. Move the glasses closer and further away to see how the effect varies. Glasses haven't expanded our reality, they have collapsed it. Corrective lenses with a nearsighted prescription simply shrink our world down to the size of our reduced visual field. Our eyes were simply not designed for a lifestyle that involves staying indoors, performing such close-up tasks as reading. Add to that the stress of trying to succeed in school or work, which requires us to focus our attention and ignore our natural impulses, and our energy field is distorted even more. Like most people, we've probably been raised to believe that life is a painful struggle, and maybe you learn to grab with your eyes instead of allowing the world to gently enter your perception. The desire to avoid seeing life fully and feeling life fully is also the fundamental origin of vision problems. Awareness, the ability to see and feel life fully, is a matter of experiencing every moment of life as fully as possible. True awareness is an expansive, effortless process. Communication expands our energy field and invites the next awareness. In fact, our capacity to open to the world seems to be directly related to our capacity to express ourselves. Every time we suppress a perception or an impulse to speak, we limit our life force a little more. When we analyze rather than feel our experiences, the clarity, energy, and passion that we bring to life is reduced. So changing your vision, your eyesight, is actually no more than a shift of awareness. And in our habit of trying hard, most of us make that shift far more difficult than it needs to be. Vision improvement is actually a dynamic process of reawakening our insight, our inner relationship with the world. Are we ready to trust the perfection of our natural vision? The shift to a new way of seeing is not physical. It has more to do with a willingness to accept and expand that vision of life. So close your eyes and visualize that your body is a balloon very slowly filling with air. When it's full, allow the balloon to gently deflate at its own speed. Then very gently, with no intention at all, open your eyes and allow the world to see you. There is an instant in which we all see clearly every time we open our eyes. Allowing that instant to get longer and longer until it becomes our normal way of seeing is a good thing to do. A habit of frequent blinking throughout the day will also keep our eyes soft and relaxed. The way we draw air into our lungs is a mirror of the way we take life into our awareness. So how do you breathe? Our eyes are primarily designed for distance vision and natural sunlight, not close-up work under artificial light. Most of us experience some level of visual strain or fatigue when doing close-up tasks, and this is called near-point stress. And there is a lot of evidence that the epidemic of poor eyesight is directly related to near-point stress. A study of more than 160,000 school children found that unless preventive measures were taken by the end of 5th grade, about 80% of school children develop measurable vision problems. This is the result of several factors, including near-point stress. Behavioral optometrists have been researching the problem of near-point stress since the 1920s and recovered a wonderful tool to ease its effects: plus lenses. Researchers are beginning to see powerful connections between vision problems, learning disabilities, and antisocial behavior. In one study, 96% of hardcore juvenile offenders were found to have significant vision problems, although they did not have poor visual acuity, per the Snellen chart. After receiving a program of vision therapy, their rearrest rate dropped from 50% to 10%, and their reading and skills improved by 4 grade levels. The ideal position at which to hold a book is the distance that creates the least physiological stress. This is usually the distance between the bottom knuckle of our middle finger and our elbow. So our book should also be at a slant parallel to the plane of our face. Our eyes operate most effortlessly when our lines of sight are parallel or slightly diverged, as they do naturally when we view a distant scene. So as soon as we try to focus on anything much closer than 20 feet, our eyes begin to converge, which takes an effort to maintain. At the distance of the typical computer screen, the resulting convergence and effort is quite strong. When this short-range focus is maintained for hours, our muscles tighten, our breath becomes shallow, our attention wanders, and our vision weakens. The more time we spend at a computer, the more this short-range view tends to become imprinted in our system, making it difficult to re-expand our focus or distance vision. Now, to Regular use of sunglasses desensitizes the photoreceptors in our eyes and creates a hypersensitivity to light. Sunglasses also suppress the signals that let you know when the light actually is too bright to tolerate. The rare occasions when we might really need sunglasses, such as on the beach or when skiing down a snow-covered mountain on a really bright day. So when we do need to wear sunglasses, we need to switch to a natural gray tint and not all the dark glasses we see. And that's where we'll end for tonight.
Wow. So it's a lot more than just recovering your eyesight, because this touches on the fact that how limiting the worldview, the paradigm, the understanding of that we're given by the system limits all aspects in our life. So that's why this specific thing is so important or so relevant. And also it's a very practical thing if somebody here is wanting to recover their eyesight. Yeah. I remember once, one of the things I do a lot is, because I inevitably spend a lot of time in the computer and inside and with the lights and etc. But one of the things I procure intensely, if I ever search for a home, I've been in this house for like 8 years, is having a view. To me, having a view is like important, right? So anytime I can, I take a look outside and I look at the mountains.
Well, and that's when reading, but too. So it would be the same with a computer. When reading, it's good to make yourself a flashcard that says stop, look up, look away, take a breath, and now put me 2 pages ahead. Mm-hmm. Right. So it's good to pace yourself like that with the computer too, is every so often to stop, look up, look away, and take a breath.
And then I do that with the mountain, but then that's not enough. I need to go out at some point in the day and exercise, focusing on the furthest away mountain, to the clouds, looking at all these things that are natural in a natural world.
Yeah.
Those things we can, it's kind of shitty that we have to remind ourselves to do that.
Yeah.
We're so drawn away from that.
Yeah.
You're not, because you are already in a ranch, but somebody that's in the city has to remind himself or herself to do these kind of things. Go out, look at the mountains, look at the sky, look at the sunset, try to find shapes in the clouds, try to look at the stars at night. I remember once one of my eyes wanted to get blurry, and I was like worried. So I started doing these, like blocking one eye and just started exercising it, and I got it back. I fixed it.
Yeah.
It took me a little bit. I did have to try again. And to this, the biggest challenge is not having to do it a lot. It really is just our mindset.
Yeah.
Our fear of, this is bullshit. This is not going to work. This is not working. That mind, that saboteur, is the one that is going to stop this.
Yeah.
So what's in it for next week?
Oh, you would have to ask that, wouldn't you? Let's talk about light.
Okay. Magical things about light.
Yeah, no, we've already talked about like the sunlight, like the 20 minutes, the indigo blip, but there's far more to light than that. Okay. Light for healing ourselves.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's what we're going to talk about.
Well, that's great that you have it all ready. So that's going to be for next week. And Otherwise, join us at alohainidowliving.com, and there you'll find a lot more things, and you'll find this opportunity to join this Freedom Relovution. If you want to join the Relovution, if you want a world where love is the main thing, that Nuna Isuyu, that kingdom of love, it's only gonna appear until you choose to.
Right. Exactly.
And with that, I will leave the invitation open and wish everybody waterfalls of blessings, unless you want to say something else.
No, that's it.
Okay, so see you everyone next week on our next live stream.